about my cycle and how it relates to my mitochondria and my energy?
Well, during your follicular phase, you have a lot more estrogen, which makes you more insulin sensitive, which means you can eat more carbs. And carbs are really good fuel for high intensity exercise. You really shouldn't go over 150 minutes a week of high intensity exercise, but you can do your harder lifts and your harder workouts during your follicular phase because you can refuel with carb. You can fuel with carbs and you're going to burn them well. Assuming your estrogen levels are higher. Now, if you are going through menopause or perimenopause, you might want to take a look at your estrogen levels, potentially support that with bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Um, and then you hit your ovulation and you feel like way more, attractive. And at the same time, you have a slightly higher risk for tendon injury. So you got to be a little bit careful with how you move your body during ovulation. And then once you get into luteal phase, you end up having higher progesterone levels. And that can make you a little bit less insulin sensitive. Technically, this is what's called the high hormone phase. So you are going to feel hormonal, which means that you're going to have more moodiness, especially leading up to your period. And you really need to make sure you maintain proper hydration and salt balance during this phase, because paradoxically, that'll actually help you not get so much water retention, is making sure that you drink enough water and you get enough electrolytes during this phase. And then once you hit your period, the beginning of your period, you may not want to exercise as much because you're just going to feel like kind of tired and gross. I always typically do something anyway because I exercise in my luteal phase as well, but I try not to do like my personal best lifts and focus more on like more moderate intensity exercise, more yoga, still weightlifting and still doing some cardio, but just not as intense. And then because you have a little bit higher cortisol in your luteal phase, so you don't need to pour a bunch of extra cortisol onto a high cortisol state. It'll just make you more irritable and cranky and make you, make you like crave carbs more. And then once you get to your let's see here, your menstrual phase, your hormones are going to start declining. So once you get to the end of your menstrual phase, you actually have pretty low hormones. So you can actually perform pretty well in the gym near the end of your period. So I tend to start ramping up my exercise near the end of my period.